Why does your avoidant ex keep texting you back? Why is it that after pushing you away, after pulling the classic disappearing act, they suddenly appear in your inbox with a "Hey, how have you been?" or a random message that feels like it came out of nowhere? If you've experienced this, you know how confusing it can be. You thought they didn't care, you thought they moved on, and yet here they are, keeping that little thread of connection alive. Today, I want to break down the real reasons behind why avoidant exes keep texting back. And trust me, it's not always for the reasons you think. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Avoidants hate being controlled. They hate feeling trapped, suffocated, or like someone is dictating the pace of the relationship. That's why they often pull away in the first place. But here's the twist. While they crave independence, they also crave connection, just on their terms. So when they text you back, it's often their way of saying, "I still want access to you," but without the responsibility of closeness. It's not about commitment, it's about control of the emotional distance. Second, avoidants often keep old bonds alive because they don't form deep connections easily. Unlike someone with an anxious attachment style who can quickly attach and detach, avoidants are selective. If they let you in, even a little bit, you leave an imprint. That means even if they left, even if they claim they didn't want a relationship, they may not fully let go. Texting you back becomes a way of revisiting that familiar bond without diving back into the parts of intimacy that scared them in the first place. Another big reason is curiosity mixed with ego. Avoidance may not show it, but they do wonder how you're doing without them. Did you move on? Are you happier? Did you find someone else? They won't always ask directly, but those casual texts, "Hey stranger," or "How's life?" are their subtle way of checking. It's not just about you, it's also about their need for reassurance that they still matter in your world. Now here's something most people don't realize. For an avoidant, texting is the perfect communication tool. It's safe, it's controlled, it doesn't require immediate vulnerability like a face-to-face conversation does. When they send you a text, they can keep things light, disappear if it gets too heavy, and reappear when it feels safe again. In a strange way, texting lets them maintain both distance and connection at the same time. And that's exactly where avoidants like to live. Half in, half out. But let's get even deeper. Sometimes your avoidant ex texts you back because they're in a phase of nostalgia. Avoidants don't process breakups the same way other people do. When a relationship ends, they often feel relief at first, like they can breathe again. But as time passes, the silence starts to echo. They may remember the comfort you provided, the emotional safety you gave them, or simply the good memories you shared. And because avoidants aren't great at building new emotional connections quickly, it's easier for them to circle back to the familiar than to start fresh with someone else. Here's a truth bomb. Avoidants keep texting you back not because they're ready to change, but because they want to keep the door open. They don't like burning bridges. To them, a breakup doesn't mean complete erasure. It means redefining the terms. They might not want you fully in their life, but they don't want to lose the option of reaching for you either. In fact, many avoidants see relationships in terms of access rather than commitment. Texting you back allows them to keep that access alive. Now let's not romanticize this. Not every text from an avoidant ex means they want to rekindle love. Sometimes it's just boredom. Sometimes it's late-night loneliness. Sometimes it's an ego boost knowing you'll respond. That's why it's crucial for you to look at patterns, not isolated moments. Are they consistently engaging with you, or just dropping breadcrumbs every few weeks? Are they making genuine effort, or just enough to keep you from moving on completely? There's also a psychological layer here. Avoidants have a push-pull dynamic. They push away when things get close, but they pull back when they feel you slipping away. If they sense that you're healing, growing, or, worst of all for them, finding happiness without them, they may text you back as a way to reestablish control. It's not always conscious, but it's their way of saying, "Don't forget me. I still exist in your world." Another reason that's rarely talked about is this. Avoidants text back because they fear regret. Deep down, they know their avoidance keeps them from experiencing true intimacy. They know they push away what others are desperately searching for: connection. So what do? They leave back doors open. To you, it may look like a simple text, but to them, it's a lifeline. a thread they keep in place just in case one day they wake up ready for closeness. That's why their communication feels half-hearted. They don't want to fully commit, but they also don't want to lose the option. And here's the part most people miss. When your avoidant ex keeps texting you, it's not about you doing something wrong. It's about the war inside of them. Avoidants are torn between two powerful drives: the fierce need for independence and the quiet but undeniable longing for connection. Texting you back is their way of scratching both itches without fully choosing either side. And that's why it leaves you confused, stuck in limbo, replaying their words and wondering what they really mean. So what should you do when your avoidant ex keeps popping up in your messages? The key is this: don't mistake breadcrumbs for a meal. Just because they're keeping a thin thread of connection doesn't mean they're ready to rebuild a real relationship. You've got to ask yourself, are their actions consistent with genuine growth, or are they just maintaining access? Are they showing up with depth and effort, or are they keeping you as a convenient emotional safety net? The truth is, clarity doesn't come from their words. It comes from their patterns, from how they actually show up in your life. Here's the hard truth: avoidants don't change overnight. If they keep texting you but shy away from real accountability, real vulnerability, and real effort, then what they're offering isn't love, it's fragments. And you deserve more than fragments. You deserve wholeness. You deserve someone who doesn't just send a text to keep you hanging, but shows up fully, consistently, and without fear of closeness. In the end, the reason your avoidant ex keeps texting you back comes down to this: they crave connection, but they fear the closeness it requires. They want to be remembered, but they don't want to risk being vulnerable. They want to know you're still there, even if they don't fully choose you. And the only way to protect your heart is to see this pattern clearly for what it is. Because a message on your phone doesn't equal a message in their heart. If they truly want you, they'll prove it with presence, not with scattered pings. Until then, hold your power, set your boundaries, and never mistake their occasional texts for a promise of love. So if you find yourself staring at those texts, wondering if they mean more than they really do, take a breath and remember this: love isn't built on hesitation. It's built on courage, consistency, and effort. And avoidance scattered messages might stir your hope, but they're not the same as showing up for you in real life. You deserve more than half love, more than fragments, more than breadcrumbs. You deserve someone who chooses you fully. So protect your heart, honor your worth, and never let a ping on your phone define your value. If this video gave you clarity, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on relationships and emotional psychology. And until next time, keep your standards high and your heart safe.